So we arrived at race day here at Oulton Park for the British Touring Car Championship, and unfortunately we had some sad news overnight that one of the volunteer marshals, the Orange Army, one of the members of the Orange Army, lost their life yesterday in an accident at Brands Hatch. I have to say, without the volunteer marshals, motor racing just doesn't happen, and I find it really emotional because these people are all part of what we do. And I wanted to say this at the start of the programme before we get into the programme, because I try and be enthusiastic about my motorsport, but I struggle a bit when things like this happen. But our thoughts with all the family and all the volunteers who are the bedrock of British motorsport. Thank you for your efforts. Welcome to Oulton Park here for rounds 10, 11 and 12 of the Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship. What a fantastic championship it's been so far this year, with some great racing. Here on the Pitch BTCC programme, we're trying to give you all the information from behind the scenes to let you know exactly what's happening technically, but also with the drivers. We've got a new driver this weekend with Jack Mitchell as well. We'll be having a chat with him. But make sure you download the Pitch BTCC app, get all the information, get on to pit time, ask your questions to the drivers, find out exactly what's happening. So we come from one legendary circuit at Brands Hatch to another legendary circuit up here in Cheshire at Oulton Park. Surrounded by trees in historic parkland. What a great circuit this is. A real driver's circuit, but also very, very susceptible to giving rear-wheel drive cars a little bit of an advantage, because traction's important on three key corners: out of the hairpin, out of Newcomer, and out of Lodge, which is back down here. That's just gives them a run onto the next straight. Just always gives them a slight advantage when they're racing, but also when they're trying to set a lap time. Let's look at Colin Turkington's pole lap from 2019 and see how the champ does it.
Good morning, I'm Colin Turkington. Welcome to Oulton Park and my pole lap from yesterday. So here we go along the start-finish straight. Important to get a good exit from Lodge, the final corner. Fast across the start-finish line and then just down one gear for Old Hall. It's quite bumpy under brakes, so you're really just throwing the car in, attacking the corner, but trying to get a clean exit. Down into Cascades, my favourite part of the track. Again, another bump under braking, just down one gear. Trying to get the car into the apex. It's an understeery corner and fighting it the whole way out to the exit. Andy Jordan up ahead, my teammate, so getting a bit of a slipstream, hard on the brakes, trying to get the car rotated with no understeer, and then crucially not too much power oversteer on the exit. Using all of the road on the exit and then bringing the car back over to the right side of the hill where it's just not as steep. Focusing on the chicane, braking as late as you dare, using a bit of inside curb and really hustling the car through this section, trying to get back in the throttle cleanly, and then a good exit up Clay Hill. The car's an understeer balance through there, so that's a really important part of the lap. Got to be brave now coming into Druids, 6th gear. It's just a short dab on the brake, down one gear into 5th and carrying as much speed in as you can. Again, fighting the rear axle through there, but crucially good exit speed. Just one corner to go now, trying to not bite off too much, but braking really late, down to 3rd, then bleeding off the brakes, using as much of the inside curb as you can, and then really focusing on maximising that traction out of Lodge. Getting a bit of a slipstream again off Andy, and that's enough for pole, a 1:28.5.84. Great lap by me yesterday. Hopefully I can do another 15 of those today.
So So far this year in the British Touring Car Championship, 2 drivers have been standout amongst the field. You've got Ash Sutton in the rear-wheel drive Infinity, and Tom Ingram, who's in his new car this year, which is the Accelerate Hyundai i30. Well, I think Tom's done a brilliant job to jump in a new car and immediately be on the pace. Ash has obviously been in the car before, knows how to win a championship or 2 in the British Touring Car Championship. But what's interesting to see is that Tom Ingram has really got in amongst the pigeons and he's really got himself sorted out. So looking forward to this week at Oulton Park. It's all to play for, but expect the rear-wheel drive runners to be strong. So in the background we've got the cars warming up for free practice 1 here at Oulton Park. There's a little bit of rain in the air which has just slightly subsided, but I think it's a little bit damp. I've just grabbed hold of Sam Smelt here, who's here from Toyota Gazoo Racing UK. So how do you find the Oulton Park circuit? I mean, you've been here obviously testing, but you raced here before in GTs and British touring cars. Is it one of your favourite circuits?
Yeah, I do enjoy it. It's probably one of the most physical tracks as well. Not that matters too much in the sprint races, but yeah, it's an enjoyable track. Obviously, it's the team's home race as well, so we've got a lot of guests here as well, which is nice and great to have the fans back as well. Weather's not great at the moment, but
yeah, sales of umbrellas are going to be really good, I think, this weekend.
Yeah, definitely. I think we'll get a good mix this weekend, but yeah, I've done a lot around here, so it's a track I enjoy, and hopefully we're going to go well.
I've caught Chris Smiley, who's with the Accelerate team. He's hiding under his garage because it's starting to rain a little bit more here. But Chris had a great weekend at Brands Hatch, had 3 top 10 finishes that could have been a little bit better, but for a bit of contact in race 3. But Oulton Park, is it one of your popular circuits?
Yeah, Oulton Park's, I've always gone really well here. I've just never had a lot of luck. 2019, up until the last corner, we would have been on pole position with the lap time that we'd done. But my steering rack broke it into the last corner, so yeah, it always seems like we've always been fast here, but we've never always had a load of luck. But yeah, it's going to change this weekend. This circuit's all about qualifying. You know, you normally find where you qualify is where you finish, unless there's a little bit of bad luck in front or behind you. So yeah, we're looking forward to 3 good races tomorrow. Hopefully we get qualified somewhere in the top 5 or 6, and yeah, you never know what can happen then. You're in the lottery, as they say.
The most important question, the thing that everybody really wants to know, is that tea or coffee?
It's coffee.
Coffee?
Yeah, it's coffee.
2 sugars?
No sugar, I'm sweet enough.
I thought so. So one of the big stories here at Oulton Park is we've got a new driver. Glyn Geddes had to stand down, and we've got Jack Mitchell standing in his place, who's been on the Toka package before, but he's been away doing some GT racing, but has always wanted to get into saloon car racing, especially in the British Touring Car Championship. So how did this come about?
Well, it was all a bit of a last-minute deal. Obviously, GTs kind of fell through last minute with no silver pairings, and I wasn't supposed to be racing this year. And I kind of thought to myself, kind of where I wanted to be, and the goal from an early age, obviously growing up watching touring cars, was to be around the paddock and be in the touring car grid. So I thought this year I'd get into the minis, like you said, just to get my head back into a little bit of front-wheel drive, get the experience back, and obviously Glyn, kind of the drive ended for him. He had other commitments, and Tony got on the phone with my dad, and all came about last minute, all the last minute deal. But like I said, I'm over the moon to be here. What an experience. Like I said, I was growing up watching this championship, and to call myself a touring car driver after race 1 is like a dream come true. So I'm over the moon with everything and how it's all gone. I'm just eager now to get in the car for FP1 and see how we get on.
Well, for me, it's great to see sort of young guys and girls coming through, sort of getting their teeth into a British touring car drive. Because for me, that's what it's all about. So, I mean, you were at the minis last time just to get a bit of front-wheel drive experience, but it shows you hadn't lost any fire in your belly because there was a little bit of argy-bargy.
Yeah, it was an ideal end to the weekend. Obviously, the pace was really strong, and the first time I've been in a front-wheel drive car since 2015. So for me, it was a bit of a shock because usually it takes a while to adapt to the changes from rear-wheel drive to front wheel. But pace was quick, and obviously me and my teammate, we were up the road all weekend. And I thought to myself before the race, you know what? We had to sit behind him, obviously help him out, but obviously the racing driver inside me, you get a little bit kind of carried away on that last lap when you see that last lap board, and went for a move, obviously a little bit argy-bargy like you said. Gutted for him because obviously didn't finish the race, and my weekend was ruined with disqualification, but I feel like this is when we've got to be back into the mix of a bit of door-to-door action, which I've missed over the last 5 years with GTs, obviously with a lack of dirty air and aero in the car, so it's nice to get that back and kind of dial me in ready for this weekend. So pressure's on, but like I said, I'm going to enjoy the experience, take it all in, because it's so easy to, in the moment, to lose like the excitement of it all and just have it as a learning year. I'd say it's a lot for me to learn. I noticed that yesterday. Some of these guys and girls, they've been around the paddock for a while and they know the cars ins and outs, and they're driving racecraft needed for it. And I think for me, I just got to take each race as it comes, get the mileage in, which is needed, and just learn race by race.
Well, what we're going to do at Pitch BTCC is follow you over the weekend. We're going to have a chat to you after each session. Let's see if you still take all the blame. I've never known a racing driver who always takes all the blame, but let's see how you get on. It's looking a little bit damp, but I'm not sure that'll be a big help for you, to be honest. You probably could do with a nice dry session just to learn the ropes.
Yeah, it'd be nice to stay the same weather all weekend. We all know this circuit underneath the trees, it takes a while to dry up around here, so I'm hoping, obviously first time I've had a proper run in the car, it can stay dry, but I'm going to have to learn eventually, so I'll get myself stuck into it, and yeah, like I said, just enjoy the experience. That's what we're here for.
Cars are getting ready to go out for free practice one. There's a little bit of drizzle in the air, but come back after the break and we'll have all the information of what's going on behind the scenes in the British Touring Car Championship. Welcome back to the Pitch BTCC show here from Oulton Park. We've just seen free practice one, and one of the drivers who did really well is Nick Hamilton in the Seat Cupra. He had a great session in very slippery conditions. Let's have a chat with him, see how it all went for him in that session. Most of the session you were up in the top 10. I think you ended 15th, I think, something like that. But how tricky is it around here? It's so slippery. It's a tricky circuit anyway, but then in greasy conditions, it makes it doubly hard.
Yeah, it was changing from lap to lap. So 1 minute you've got your window wipers on, wiping the front screen, and then next minute you want it off. And it was just changing every corner pretty much. The tyres don't last too long. I was on old scrap tyres really, so the one lap I did was great, and then but that was right at the start of the session when you're not really in the groove, and then when you're in the groove the tyres are dead and gone. So yeah, it's changeable conditions, which was good, but for me it was just about trying to stay as consistent as possible even when the conditions do change and it gets wetter and then drier. But it was a good session overall. I was happy.
Well, so I mean, for some of the viewers who maybe don't know, Nick works and lives with cerebral palsy, fights against it, you know, and is a real inspiration to other people out there who are having a similar sort of situation. But I mean, what's the big thing for you? What makes makes it so hard to drive a racing car?
I would say obviously braking and accelerating. Braking's been a big thing for us at the moment. We've been struggling to get that peak pressure in the car, and we made some changes to the brakes for this weekend to help me get that peak pressure. So it means I struggle to brake late and deep into the corner, and because I struggle with the left leg, I hold the brake on for too long because I can't stop it fast enough. So we've made a change for this weekend. It's really helped, it's really worked. So it means I can do less work with my left leg, I would say. And then obviously throttle modulation, especially in the wet, is tough because I can't flex the ankles. So all of the modulation comes from the thigh muscle, and my leg's just hanging in the air. So there's a lot of work to do, but it's all I know. I don't know anything else. I've always driven like that, even when I drove for yourself, Shaun. So yeah, I'm just trying to adapt it to go along and to get faster.
Well, I mean, it's great to have the fans back here this weekend, and I know when we have autograph sessions, which we won't have this weekend, but we will have, you've got the biggest queue in the paddock, so you've got some real big support out there.
Yeah, I've got a lot of support. It's great to see fans back. That's what touring cars is all about, isn't it? And it's why sponsors want to be a part of it, because you can see so much like hands-on action for the fans to get really up and close to the drivers, up and close to the cars. So it's great to have them back. It was like a ghost town for the whole year last year. I signed my first autograph today in touring cars for over a year, and I was like, wow, it's amazing to have everyone back. But yeah, I've got a lot of fans. I'm excited to see everybody out in the stands with my merchandise on. But yeah, it's the start of getting back to some sort of normality, which I'm looking forward to.
So another driver who was enjoying the slippery conditions here in the free practice sessions at Oulton Park was Jake Hill in the MB Motorsport Ford Focus. He's surrounded by his fan club. Cheer, everybody. Yeah! They loyal supporters here at Oulton Park. So how were those sessions for you, Jake?
Yeah, it's been a decent start for us. It's been tricky conditions for everyone. Everyone's in the same boat, but this morning was very mixed in FP1, and it was drizzling enough to make a difference, so we just did all our scrubbing of the tyres for the weekend, which we're happy with, and then FP2 just then was really good. We got a good balance of the car. We didn't take any new tyres or anything like that, so I'm pretty confident.
So you said you really knew the circuit well, so on your track walk on Friday yesterday we saw a video on social media where you're driving around with your sort of remote control race car. I don't know what type of car it was, but you're really into remote control race cars.
Yeah, I love all my RC stuff. I'm a big kid at heart, but my engineer Craig, he loves obviously all the engineering stuff, and I brought my race one down for him to have a look at, and we were having a little play on our track walk as well, so good fun.
So we just finished free practice 2 up here at Oulton Park. It was a session that started wet and gradually dried out. One of the drivers who was right at the top of the times for a lot of the session was Aaron Taylor-Smith. How was that session for you?
It was good. In those greasy conditions, I had the car working pretty well. And probably when everyone went for that quali simulator at the end, we left it too late. So we only kind of got the out lap, a decent-ish lap on a new set to see what it could do. But in general, the balance is good. Like, I actually think it's always a good sign to be near the front in whatever conditions it is. So you know that space is in the car. Fingers crossed we can just replicate that in qualifying in a short while.
And with Jack Goff, who ended up fastest in that last session. So how was it for you?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I'd be far happier if I was quickest after qualifying and speaking to you, but that's later on. So I've been in this game long enough now to realise that practice doesn't mean an awful lot, especially in changeable conditions, like you say, here at Oulton Park this weekend. But I'd rather be P1 at the end of changeable conditions than P21. So it's all positive, coming on from Brands Hatch of our podium. The momentum's going in the right way, it's chipping away. This championship's very difficult, and I think qualifying will be key around here because it's quite narrow, and with these sort of changing conditions, there's sort of one line around the track. So I think it's important that we get our heads down in qualifying and try and qualify in the front sort of 3 rows to give ourselves a good shot tomorrow.
So after a hectic qualifying session here at Oulton Park, we're going to talk to the top 3 of Rory Butcher, Gordon Shedden and Senna Proctor. Fantastic qualifying with all 3 of them at some point at the top of the times. But a big news story was second in the championship, Tom Ingram. Car problems caused him to miss the session. Let's have a chat with him and see what went wrong.
It's a hectic session for everyone else. Yeah. No, it's an easy one for me. I just had to sit there. I didn't really have to do a lot. We had where the wastegate goes onto the or the damp from the wastegate's linked together just off the turbo. That pulled apart, and unfortunately, where it's located on the car, it's down the back of the engine, in between where the bulkhead meets the engine. So, yeah, I mean, we could have run it, but the gas is coming out at 900 degrees. It's not worth the risk of a fire or gassing me out, so we called it. So one positive is that we've got some new tyres for tomorrow, which is nice. I've got some nice scenic views to look at on the outlap, so one of them.
I suppose the only positive starting that far back is it's just full attack, and that's it, really.
Yeah, well, I've also got to be mindful that I need to score some points. So, I've got to try and break through into the points if I can, and then lose a bit of weight and try and get forward again for race 2 and get myself hopefully a reverse grid. So we shall see. Unfortunately, this place is quite difficult to overtake at, as you know, but never say never. I've managed to come from fairly far back before, so never say never.
So one driver who had the potential to be P1 in that session is Rory Butcher. Still came third, but a great lap earlier on to get P1, but it was really hectic session.
Yeah, it was. I think it's probably because we had wet weather this morning, so everybody's still learning the track. But yeah, I was so pleased to go into qualifying after a strong FP2. You know, this year we've really struggled for me to find confidence in the car, and we've always been chasing a setup. And I just feel like going into qualifying for the very first time, I'm going in there with a bit of confidence, and I knew that I had the potential to be P1. Quite disappointed I didn't get it, to be honest, and it was that bloody shed in my brother-in-law who had to pit me, and obviously Proctor's done a great job as well. But yeah, it's just a great feeling to be fast. It's great.
Qualifying looked busy. How was it from your side of the wheel?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of all action around here for a lot of reasons. Firstly, it's the first time that it's been fully dry, I guess, today. It's been a little bit half and half, so everyone keen to be out on track. And different strategies at play. The rear-wheel drive cars keep going. The front-wheel drive cars got to come in and cross tyres, so you sometimes end up coming across people at funny places, on the way down to Cascades and things. But it was a session which got faster and faster. It was, people taking more and more liberties. I can see the amount of dirt that there is at the side of the road as people are using all the tracking a little bit more. But Jesus, it's close, isn't it? So close. But front row start, happy with that. Nice clear track in front of me. Let's make the most of it tomorrow and see how we go.
Looking at the car, it looks really hooked up. You look really confident. What sort of changes have you made to make the car maybe work a little bit more in your style?
I think at Brands Hatch we made some changes to the rear of the car, which gave me a lot more confidence, and it was giving me much better feedback, so I could kind of attack the corner much more. And at the tyre test we developed a different damper on the front end as well, which we're using this weekend, and I feel like that's also kind of helping my confidence. So it's just been great being part of that process, and the team have kind of listened to me, and we've all kind of joined forces, and they've done everything they could to help me go fast, and here we are starting to see some potential.
Well, that's always the big thing when you're joining a new team, is to try and get everybody working around you and all working in the same direction. So thinking about that, how's race pace? Your one lap pace is good. How's your race pace for tomorrow?
Yeah, I feel like that's one of the strengths of the car, and I felt at the tyre test that one thing we could do is do 4 or 5 laps in a row that were relatively close. So yeah. I think we'll be in a good place tomorrow, but obviously we've got those pesky Hondas surrounding me, which are obviously going to be really strong. So it's going to be a tough race. Need to have a good first lap, get a good start, and then see what happens after that.
Well, the thing, all year you've had really good pace, but haven't had the luck in the first race or two as it goes on. I mean, is that in the back of your mind, or are you just carrying the same sort of aggression and normal Gordon race strategy into every race?
Yeah, I mean, it's all I can do. It's I've spent a month avoiding black cats and ladders and looking for 4-leaf clovers and things. So who knows? We'll see what tomorrow brings. But I don't think we're in a bad place. I think the car feels good, so we'll just make the best of it tomorrow.
So it's always good to be on pole position, but to get your first pole position in British touring cars must be pretty special, Senator Proctor.
Yeah, no, it's very good. Yeah, we had a very good test here a few weeks ago. We were P1 as well, so me and Gordon were half a second ahead of the pack, and there was a few suspicions whether I was on the soft tyre or missed a part of the track. So I'm nice that I've put all them that suspicion to bed, and yeah, I'd give myself the best starting place for tomorrow.
So, starts so far this year, being on pole position, you want to maximise that advantage, really. I mean, have your starts been good this year?
Yeah, we've been good, yeah, and we should, especially with the closest rear-wheel drive car in 6th, we should be. None of them should be coming through quick. So we'll do our best to try and hold first position, then hopefully get another win, and see what we can do in race 2 as well.
So that's it for practice and qualifying here from Oulton Park. Why not download the Pitch BTCC app to get involved in the conversation, and see you after the break for race day. Welcome back to race day here at Oulton Park, and the big difference is the sun's out. We're going to have a chat with Mickey Butler from Goodyear Tyres about what the strategy is with the option tyres, also with James Cole, who's the driving standards officer. But first of all, let's have a chat with newcomer Jack Mitchell, see how he got on in qualifying. So you've had practice, you've had qualifying, how'd you get on?
It wasn't too bad. It was definitely a learning curve and a lot harder than I was expecting. FP1 wasn't ideal because it was wet weather conditions. Handy for me to get used to the car in the wet, but I knew FP2 and qualifying would be dry, so already on the back foot there, we're a little bit limited, dry running. FP2 was really good. Got to grips with the car nicely. Didn't run the new tyres and we ended up P11, so I thought going into qualifying we'd be in a really strong position because Jack had run the new tyres and we were only 6/7 off, so I was hoping for a really good qualifying. And obviously in qualifying, the new tyres went on and sadly it didn't have the grip there. It might be something on my end, trying to get the heat into the tyres properly. Like I said, it's still a learning curve for me, so wasn't meant to be. We ended up 25th, which is a shame. Obviously around this circuit, we all know it's hard to overtake. It's single file most of the time. So it's going to be a difficult race, but I think being my first weekend, I'm getting quicker and quicker each session I do. So I need to keep getting the laps in, learn as much as I can, and just take it all on board for the next race. It's doing the rest of the season, which we're all signed up for. So hopefully it's going to progress from there and get something together so we can go into next year with all the information learned this year and hit the ground running.
Well, good luck later on today. That you've done the start of it. Now you've got the racing. Now British Touring Car Racing is a different ball game to maybe some of the stuff you've done before, but I know you're quick enough to do the job, so a lot of it's me experience of how to deal with some of the sort of rough and tumble that comes with British touring car racing.
Yeah, for sure. I've grown up watching it ever since I was younger, so I know the ins and outs of it, but I can imagine when you're on that grid, the lights go out, it's just a totally different ball game. So I think race one, just kind of figure out what it's actually like, because it's going to be different to the GT stuff I've done. I haven't had door-to-door action for 5 years, so it's going to be a bit of a wake-up call for sure, but like I said, just take each race as it comes, find out what drivers are like when I'm out on circuit. All drivers are going to be different driving styles, so I have to figure that out and just kind of stay clear of trouble and just hopefully go up the order.
Looking forward to the race today. One of the options that the teams have got to use is choice of which tyre to use. So they've got the option tyre, which at this event is the softer tyre, same as we had back at Snetterton. And some of the teams struggle a little bit because it was a really, really hot day. Here at Oulton Park, it's a little bit changeable. Mickey, how do you think the soft tyre is going to work for this weekend?
Going on past experience when we used it, we haven't used it since 2019 for obvious reasons. It was the preferred option, preferred tyre. Give the ultimate grip, and the drivers could, use it well under braking to, get placing. You know what it's like to overtake it, very difficult. So if it's car set up in the right window, it is the faster tyre. So it will suit real-world drives, but there's some boys that really got their head around it now, and now to get the maximum out of it.
Okay. So when they say to get their head around it, is that what sort of setup changes can they make to make the tyre work better and last longer?
It's a lot of setup. It's a big setup change they must do between the medium and the soft tyre. But they're chasing. They want to get the maximum grip out of a medium tyre. Well, they get the grip from the tyre because the compound gives that extra grip. But that gives you a lot more loadings, a lot more lateral loads and longitudinal loadings. But if you've got a lot more lateral loadings, you're putting a lot more load through the tyre. So you have to back off the camber, and because you've got so much grip, you have to increase the pressure just to give the tyre a bit more stability. You've got the natural grip of the tyre giving you the speed, so you don't need the mechanical grip from the car. So it's a balancing act. Some people like to push the boundary halfway out, but again, the driver has a massive influence on the soft tyre.
What their driving style, so how much they don't lean on the tyre too early.
Yeah, it's driving style, it's how they lean and how they push on, how much steering inputting in. The smoother drive suits the softer tyre. If they go in there applying too much steering lock and start wheel spinning, lighting up, you generate overheating the compound. So it's a tyre for the thinking driver. Obviously, I haven't got many thinking drivers in this championship, but no, being disrespectful. The drivers that think about it, think the long game, will get the best out of them.
So So the British Touring Car Championship is known for lots of aggressive driving, a little bit of rough and tumble, bit of contact every now and again, which needs to be looked after, needs to be regulated. And I'm with James Cole, who's the driving standards officer. Lots of experience in British touring cars and knows exactly what should and shouldn't go on. So how does that work, and how did you get involved with becoming poacher turned gamekeeper?
Well, I'm kind of here to spoil the party for everybody. But no, in all seriousness, I've had many years in the British Touring Car Championship, and an opportunity came up at the end of last year for me to give my experience to help the guys up the bus to just try and keep, we're allowed to a little bit of pushing and shoving the British Touring Car Championship, but trying to keep a little bit under control as well.
So what happens in the bus? What goes on in there?
Well, if you get called up the bus, usually it's because you've been involved in an incident and you're there to give your opinion of whether it's not me, sir, or if it was him.
Don't you think most of the drivers go, it's not me, sir, and you end up finding out that most of the time it is them?
Yeah, absolutely, and and I can say for myself, because I'm guilty for it as well. We forget that there are cameras in the cars that are able to. It wasn't me. It was. Yeah. Motorsport is one of those few sports where what two incidents can happen at two different circuits which look the same, but you will have two different outcomes, and it's our job up the bus to just gauge and give our opinion from an outside perspective, a non-biased perspective of what we believe has happened. The drivers so far, I think, are happy that I'm there because as you say, I'm still clinging on to being one of them, and I'm here to help. I'm not here to catch people out. I'm here to make sure that if I don't like to use the word punishment because that's not my job. I'm there to give an opinion. If there happens to be some kind of ruling, that I give the best advice I can to the guys in the bus.
So it's great to have fans back here, but I know when you're not wearing your race outfit, you've got another job, which is gigging with different bands, but also managing bands. So you must be really pleased that fans are back as well.
Absolutely. 18 months without having crowds close in proximity has been difficult for the British Touring Car Championship, but for my work in music, theatres have been closed, and I think it's just good for the soul as well, isn't it, to have people back together and to be able to do things like this. We couldn't have done this a couple of months ago, so touch wood, this is the start of the new beginning, and looking forward.
So one of the great things up here for the British Touring Car round at Oulton Park is we've got the fans back in full force now that we're sort of out of lockdown, and I'm here with members of the world famous BTCC fan group, the Jeff Army. So they're having a great time already, and it's only Saturday morning. But so these guys, they're famous for supporting the British Touring Car Championship, come what may. But what's the Jeff Army most famous for? I heard it's your salute. So we've all got to do it's left hand over your eye, apparently. So yes, left hand, left eye. Oulton Park, great circuit. What do you like about Oulton Park?
That circuit, because you can walk around the pits.
Walk around the pits.
Yeah,
what do you like about Oulton Park?
I love it.
Love it. You can see everything.
I like Oulton Park, it's so tight, so there's lots of contact and entertainment normally.
Campsite's full, it's just absolutely brilliant. Yeah. Festival atmosphere. There was loads of music on last night, loads of people just enjoyed themselves, really good. So pleased to be back, really are.
Yeah, I think just getting so close to the action actually, and seeing the drivers around, having access to the garage and seeing the people work as well, it's been brilliant.
I just love the thrill and the excitement of it all, and we've missed that for so long now.
Well, for the last 18 months, it's just been a mad time. Booked the tickets on the 12th of October 2019, and I had to keep pressing buttons on the internet to keep transferring the tickets. That's what I found annoying. Right. But happy to be here now.
No, brilliant. How about you? What have you missed about British touring cars?
Oh, the atmosphere, the buzz, being around people.
No, brilliant. How about you, young man?
I miss being here and just being outdoors.
Oh, well, I think that's the good answer.
Yeah, totally. Being with us all together.
Yeah, all together.
Yeah, all together. Back in the paddock as well. So
yeah, no, exactly. I'm here in the paddock with Ted, Tessa and Andrew. Ted's at his first ever British touring car race. What do you like about British touring cars?
Well, I like the speed, I like the fastness, and I like the crashing.
I love racing. I always watch Formula 1 every weekend, and yeah, it's been not really that good that we can not go, and it's really good that we can come again.
Who's your favourite driver?
Rick Parfitt.
Rick
And
Parfitt.
Tom. And Tom Oliphant.
Tom
Yeah.
Oliphant, Rick
Yeah.
Parfitt. Yeah, how about you?
Ash.
Ash Sutton.
Ash Sutton.
I'm going to be completely honest with Rowbottom.
Who's your favourite driver?
Josh Cook, because I like his number, because he's 66.
Oh, okay, that's good. That's a good reason. How about you?
Jade Edwards.
Jade Edwards as well. Yeah, she's got lots of fans as well. I think both in the same team as well with BTC Racing.
Follow loads of them. There's too many to enjoy. But
You got your Jade Edwards hat on. Yeah, that's it.
yeah, so but there's too many to like. You know, they're all nice people as well. When you get to chat to them, the access you get to them, you know, they're all just nice anyway. But yeah, Jade, go on, Jade.
Who do you think's going to win today?
I think Colin Turkington's going to win.
Okay, good. What about you?
Well, I've got to go with the expert.
Right,
Colin's the man today.
Good. That sounds good.
Colin,
same again.
I'm going to go with Oliphant, but that's
Oliphant.
purely because I've got a friend of that name. So that's...
Okay. Join us after the break when we'll have all the highlights from race 1 here and interviews with the top 3 drivers. Why not download the Pitch BTCC app and get your predictions in for the race? Welcome back to race 1 here at Oulton Park of the British Touring Car Championship. The weather's a bit warmer, a bit sunnier than it was yesterday, so let's see if that affects anything on the track. Let's also see what our users of the Pitch BTCC app, powered by Blue Chip, had to say and who their winners or potential winners could be. So on lap 7 we had a red flag in race 1 for a nasty incident that involved Tom Oliphant, Rick Parfitt, Chris Smiley and a couple of others as well in there, but quite a big accident for Tom Oliphant. Let's hear from the drivers and see what happened. So I'm with Tom Oliphant, whose BMW was involved in that incident in race 1. Firstly, Tom, how are you feeling?
Physically fine, yeah. I managed to, obviously after the 2 impacts, get out of the car by myself, you know. I waved to the fans and made sure, you know, everybody knew that I was okay, and I walked back to the medical centre. A big shout out to all the marshals and the medical crew, you know, especially after what happened yesterday. I think, you know, it takes a lot of guts to go out and do exactly the same thing today. So obviously we needed them, and yeah, they were there very quick.
That's fantastic to hear as well. I mean, I'm glad you're saying it from a driver's point of view as well, because they do such a fantastic job. But going back to your shot, it was 2 big, quite hefty hits really, but it all started with an incident with Jason diving up the inside of you at Lodge. I mean, how do you see that?
Well, yeah, there was no move on. You know, the way the rules are written, or they should be interpreted in a certain way, and around Oulton Park it's tight. He was behind me when we hit the brakes and he jinked, I assume, when I was still braking. He had no point got alongside me and I turned into the corner and he hit me right in the apex. So if that's a racing incident or allowed, I have bigger questions. But Jason was a driver I really looked up to. He's the most experienced guy on the grid. I think he should know better. He put me in a very dangerous position when, you know, I hadn't done anything to him to warrant it, and you know, he's caused me and my team definitely missing race 2, and potentially making race 3, but from the back of a grid. It's thrown the whole year and this race meeting into shambles, and that's very hard to take.
No, I can see that. After such a fantastic weekend at Brands Hatch, it just really shows you the sort of highs and lows of motorsport.
Yeah, it really does. And obviously Brands was a brilliant weekend. And there's racing, there's rough racing, which I think we saw a bit of at Brands, which is entertaining for the fans. And then there's just things that you shouldn't do, and I believe that was one of them. So we'll see what the stewards say. But it's a shame that he's caused me potential injury and the car is shot. So, it'll be a fight to make it back out today, let alone knock ill. But, the guys are working really, really hard to try and make that happen, and hopefully I can reward them with something come race 3.
I'm with another one of the drivers involved in that incident, Chris Smiley. Chris, where did you see it from your point of view?
Listen, to be honest, Jason went for a move on the BM that wasn't really on. He spun the car around and in the middle of the corner. I've already committed to it, and Tom comes back across the front of me again, But yeah, it's a disappointing way to start today. It's a bit of damage that gets sorted out here now, but it's very hard to make progress around here. It's if you look at the race, everyone was sort of staying line astern. The only way you can sort of do to get past around here is to get desperate late move, and that's what it was. And unfortunately, it's caused 3 or 4 cars mega damage there. But yeah, it's one of those things. There's nothing I could have done any different about it. I've seen it on the TV there. I'm coming into the corner. You actually see that I try to go across to miss him, and Tom just keeps rolling backwards. It's not ideal as they say.
I'm with Rick Parfitt, who was one of the drivers involved. Firstly, are you all okay, Rick?
Yeah, fine. Just, as with all things like this, just hugely disappointed, gutted.
Yeah. No, well, mate, from the TV view, you sort of came over the top of the lodge and you just didn't have anywhere to go, really. You just had Tom Oliphant's BMW right in front of you.
Yeah, and the thing is, it was literally right on the apex, and so it's completely unsighted from where we were. There were no yellows, so I was treating it like any normal corner, and just turned in. And he was there. That was it. There was no time to react. There was nothing. All I could do was just slam on the brakes and just try not to hit him as hard as I could, And that is just one of those things, unfortunately, isn't it? There was. I've been just on the walk back thinking if there's any alternative. That absolutely wasn't. He was right on the apex across the whole circuit, and I think Chris hit him as well, and I hit him, and yeah, that's not a place you want to spin, basically. So I'm glad to see that Tom's okay and Chris is okay and we're all okay. And let's be honest, that is the main thing. Cars can be repaired. I don't know what caused it, but yeah.
There was a bit of contact with Jason Plato and Tom, which resulted in Tom being spun round.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, if it had been anywhere else, there'd probably been time to actually react or drive round, but you're committed into Lodge, and it's blind because it goes down a hill. So you can't see. When you come in, you can't see until you're through the corner. And so, I was basically a passenger, so yeah.
Well, good luck to you and the team for getting the car ready, hopefully, for race 2.
Yeah, if anyone can, they can, but it won't be as pretty now. I like it to be pretty, Shaun. Sad.
All right, well, good luck. I'm glad you're all okay.
Thank you, mate.
Let's look at the highlights of race 1, courtesy of ITV Sport, and see who scored all the points in that first race of the day.
Out go the lights. Let's see as the 10th round of the 2021 Championship is underway, and look at that, Rory Butcher goes right out towards the wall, gets it all back in. Shannon's having a look round the outside line, but it's the 2 West Hondas that come through in the position. Oh, out wide. It's Colin Turkington, isn't it? Coming down to his lot, he will break latest and turn in. Jelly tries to slot in, which he just manages to do in front of Jack Goff. Lunge up the inside. Butcher left a bit of room there. Butcher didn't close the door enough. Rowbottom from the outside. Quick stop by the BMW as well of Adam Morgan in third. Off goes the number 4, Sam Osborne. Rowbottom will take a first win in the British Touring Car Championship. Flashes his lights. Rowbottom takes the win. And it's Shannon in second place, having started the restart. Pole position. Adam Morgan in third.
So after an exciting race one with a race stoppage and plenty of incidents on track, the big overall story is the guys at the front of the championship had terrible races, didn't really put any points on the board, so that's really closed the championship table up as we head into race 2 here. But let's have a chat with the guys on the podium and see how their races went. So off a race win at Brands Hatch, Adam Morgan's got another podium as we see Dan Rosebottom, who wins the race with his baby daughter, I believe, up on there on the podium, which is great to see. Oh, well, sorry, you were the first. But going back to what a great race. I mean, I just spoke to your engineer, Steve Farrell. A third place podium in race 1 is worth a race 3 win all day long.
It is, and also that the Dan and Gordon were both on softs as well. Although we've got no weight on the medium tyre, the slower tyre, so it sort of highlights our pace. We've got a bit of weight to carry now for race 2, but hopefully with the weight, maybe the soft tyres for race 2, we can keep pushing and maybe get another podium.
No, fantastic. Well, great result. Looking forward to you pushing forward as the race goes on.
We'll be trying. We'll have a go. Hopefully, another podium would be great, and then just a good haul of points for the weekend will do us just right.
The pace has been there all year for Gordon Shedden, and he's got himself a podium in second place in the first race, which sets you up well for the rest of the day. But you started on pole and you looked like you had that first half of the race before the red flag under control.
Yeah, part 1 was well under control. We were a few seconds up the road, just coasting really. So, from that point of view, disappointed that we didn't convert in the second part, but Dan made a lightning start in the second one. Got to turn 1 first, and then obviously we've got to have a fair bit of respect between teammates from then on in. So, yeah, it's a great 1-2. It's fantastic. It's building blocks to step from. Obviously I'm conscious I had a podium at Brands in race 1 last time, and it didn't kind of all go to plan. So we need to, keep our head down and keep on scoring as many points as we can as the day goes on.
Well, one of the stories really, that the pace has been there with the Team Dynamics Hondas, but maybe the results haven't been there. But I thought that the second half of the year, you boys could be really hot to trot.
I hope so, but we are relatively light just now, so we need to be making these rounds count. And this is a good start, and then the next couple of events should suit us quite strong as well. So we'll make the best of.
So you'll never see a happier man at a British touring car meeting than a man who steps up the top step of the podium, but for the first time ever, and taking your baby daughter Isla up there.
No, don't what you're doing to me. No, it's a great way to start the day, isn't it?
Yeah.
We needed that. It's Cataclean's home race, so I've been promising him a win for a while, so I thought I'd just reserve it till today, so it's great.
Well, the first half of the race looked like Gordon had it under wraps, really, and then really you nailed the restart on the second restart, and that's what won the race for you, really.
I think it's fair to say we nailed the first start, but Gordon covered it off quite well. As you say, the first half of the race was a done deal. We were probably P1 and P2, just the other way around. Fantastic, would have been great for the team, but when red flag came, I thought, right, I've got another go at this start, and made it count. That was it.
No, brilliant. Well, it's good to see Dynamics up there with a 1-2. We're normally not super happy because they get so many 1-2s, but to see him back up there, for me as a British touring car fan, is great to see. And you were right at the front of it.
That's what we need to be. I mean, when we went to Dynamics, I think we've discussed before, we had a little bit of criticism, but hopefully we're silencing that now, and the championship's all to play for, isn't it?
So see you after the break. We're going to have all the action from race 2, but I think all the teams should be very afraid. Team Dynamics are definitely back. So all the cars have gone out onto the grid for race 2 here at Oulton Park, except for 2. We've got Tom Oliphant's BMW, which couldn't be repaired in time, and the team are working flat out behind me at Accelerate to get Rick Parfitt's Honda onto the grid. Let's see how they get on. watch BTCC app users' predictions for race 2.
Makes a good job away, so too does Adam Morgan from third position. Will be looking good. Shep trying to come across. Morgan going up, trying to go to second place, but Shep gets across. Alex is second as his teammate that leads.
Oh, Butcher's actually up the inside of Rowbottom, which forces Rowbottom into Shedden. They're side by side. Who's going to come out in front?
Shedden has to get defensive. We've got Stephen Jenny coming up in the mix in the BMW as well, but it's Butcher coming through to the lead. Rory Butcher leads. Yeah, Brocky getting stuck in again. There's contact, car spinning round into the barrier. Jack Goff. Well, we did put the curse of the commentator on him with the run of points. He is off after that contact. Cook here with the problem, diving down the inside that line. There is Jason Bates. Rory Butcher takes the win. It'll be a roar inside the car for sure as well, I am sure.
So I'm here with Adam and Freddie Morgan. Adam's just finished third in the British Touring Car Championship, but Freddie's got the hat on. So who gets the points?
We get the points, yeah. We get it anyway. Another amazing race, you know, we had the soft tyres on. We had 57 kg on as well, which I thought might hurt us a little bit, but it didn't do. The pace was really strong. I was really pushing to get past Dan, but you know, he managed it really well. You could just see the benefits of the difference between front-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive in that race, and he was fast in areas, I was fast in others, but I couldn't make it stick. But a mega day for us now. That's 3 podiums out of 3 races.
That's fantastic. Well, it's also good to see some really hard but close and fair racing from you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it was all elbows out on the first couple of laps. You know, Rory got an absolute ballistic start. He disappeared, and heading down to Newcomer, I think it was 3 abreast. I think me, Gordon, and Stephen. And I basically just closed my eyes. I thought, I'm on the inside, I've got the line, but I don't know what's going to happen. And we came out in P3, so chuffed to bits.
Well, it's not too bad. They pulled out P9 from that race, so that puts you sort of 6th, 7th. I never work it out. I've been doing this 10 years and I still can't work it out.
I've got no idea where I am. But we're in the mix. We've got a similar weight on to what we had in that race, so we know what the balance is going to be like. Back on a medium tyre, so we'll give it a go.
So it seems like podiums are a bit like buses for Dan Rowbottom. He's got another podium with 2nd place. Full success Ballaston. Had a fantastic battle with Adam Morgan as well, which really was, you know, edge of the seat stuff, but really fair driving. But how was it all for you?
It was good. I mean, I didn't expect to get a P2 out of that. You know, not only were we full ballast, we had the medium tyre because we burned our soft in race 1. So it was interesting. Adam and I had a good little battle, you know, a little bit of first lap bunching at the hairpin, which pushed us wide and allowed Rory to get through. So if you'd have said today we'd have come out away with a P1 and a P2 out of the first race, I wouldn't have believed you. So a great day so far.
Well, probably incredibly, you might not know so far, but you're 3rd in the championship now, which has jumped you up there, which shows you, and it's really closed up at the top. So, you know, we're starting to talk not just race winner, but maybe championship contender.
It gets all exciting now, doesn't it? Yeah, you know, look, when we came into this year, it was a case of let's just set the record straight. Let's look like we deserve to be here. But you know, I promised myself I wouldn't get focused on the championship too much until after the midway point. But if we could go into Knockhill in 3rd place, that would be fantastic, wouldn't it? It'd be great.
So with his first race win of the year is Rory Butcher and Parker Butcher. Again, you've got the hat on, so you keep the points. Adam Morgan had his son here. He had the hat on, so they're going to split the points. But what a fantastic win for you. Why have you made the season look so difficult up to now?
I don't know, Shaun. It's hard, isn't it? You move to a new team. They welcome you in with open arms. They've got a proven car that's won multiple races with Tom, and I tried to adapt to the car in the first few races, and if I'm honest, I was lacking confidence on that setup. And as much as I put a brave face on it, just wasn't happening. And we decided to go in a different direction and race day at Brands. I can't believe the change and what the car's doing for me. And I just feel like my old self, feel like last year. attacking for pole position this weekend, fighting out for it, and then getting a race win. And I made a bet with the team that if I said to Christian on Friday, I said I've got a good feeling. I don't want to say, I need to get a result before I say like I think we're fast. And he said, right, well, what's a good result? And I said, a win. And he went, all right. Well, if you get a win, you've got to run down the pit lane naked. I will.
So is there a timetable for that? Because we'll set the cameras up.
I don't know, mate. I don't know. It might have to be delayed to another time, but we'll see. With children around.
No, that's pretty. It's fantastic to see you up there. I mean, an incredible first lap that sealed the whole win for you.
Yeah, it was just one of those things where getting off a good start, and then I got alongside Morgan and he was good. He gave me racing room going down towards Cascades, and I just thought I'd have a go round outside there. So just getting the positioning for the next corner, and that's what you have to do here. And managed to get up the inside of Gordon at the hairpin, and then alongside Dan coming out of the hairpin, and that was it. The race was done, and I knew that once I was in the lead, manage the tyres, bring it home, and the car was mega. It was so good.
Well, fantastic. Good luck in race 3. I think you're going to finish starting about 9th on the grid, but full ballast, so it's going to be hard work.
Yeah, but hey, we've had a great day. P4, first place, and we just need to gather points now.
So I've always thought motorsport is definitely a team sport, and it's all about the people behind the scenes making it happen. Rory Butcher might have got the trophy for first place, but Christian Dick from Toyota Gazoo Racing UK, he's the man who puts it all together. Are you happy with that result, if I need to ask?
You don't need to ask, do you? No, absolutely made up. Obviously, it feels like it's taken us a little bit too long to get to this point, a bit too deep in the season, but it's more than welcome now. It's here for sure.
No, fantastic. I mean, it's a big change for you this year because you've gone to 2 cars. You had a relationship, obviously, with Tom Ingram before, so that's a big change, and have a new driver in. So probably, it looks like it's really gelling. I mean, I've got to say, I spoke to Rory on the podium. He's super buzzed.
No, I think you're 100% right. For all of us at Toyota Gazoo Racing UK, it's a huge change. Obviously, going to 2 cars. You know yourself, the infrastructure that needs to build up, the extra staff and getting those relationships to work, new engineering staff and new drivers. It's virtually a whole new team here. So yes, it does take a lot of work and a lot of effort, a huge monumental effort, and obviously we've not been right at the very sharp end this year where we're used to being and where we like to be. So we've had to dig deep. You know, it's been a lot more work for less reward up until now, but we're just all over the moon. Brilliant.
So for your team, which is obviously Speedworks, who run the Toyota Gazoo Racing team, your first podium here at Oulton Park for your local circuit.
Absolutely, yeah. We're based just the other side of Northwich, 10 miles down the road, and I think this is 10, 11 years of trying round here, and this is finally not just getting a podium, a win as well in dominant fashion. It's brilliant. It really is. I'm over the moon.
So one of the drivers who really suffered in that race 1 incident was Chris Smiley in his Hyundai, but the Accelerate team did a fantastic job of getting the car back on track for race 2, and he came charging through the field and finished 14th. How did you manage that?
It's funny how races go against you, and some of them go for you. That race there, we got a clean start, we got away, we made all our places at the start. We started hunting down the leading pack again. Not the leading pack, the pack in front of me. But yeah, the car felt really good. The guy's done an amazing job. Our car was in bits after race 1. Even the engineer was, putting bits on it and getting things put together, and it's a real team effort. And anybody who doesn't really know much about motorsport doesn't really appreciate how much the team has to do with getting the car ready, getting damage done, getting the car prepared for race weekends. And whenever there's a bit of a fight between each race to get it ready, they've worked so hard, they've knuckled down, and they've had the car back out again. Yeah, but I think I've repaid them again. We came from last 14th. We've now got the soft tyre. We're now looking to get ourselves into the top 10 now.
Would you think that's possible from where you are on the grid? But I suppose without any ballast and a soft tyre, it's a real opportunity.
Yeah, we're going forward. That's the only way we're going in this one. Yeah, we're going to go forward, and I think all the cars from 10th forward to about 5th have all got quite a lot of weight on. And this circuit, as everybody knows, really, really hurts the cars with a load of weight on. I've got no weight, I've got the soft tyre. I would like to think that this is a race that we can go forward and really make some good progress.
So after race 2, one of the men on the move was Ash Sutton here. He's still leading the championship. I don't think even you can believe that, Ash.
No, it's a bit odd, isn't it? And to be extending it as well. So yeah, it's been a real odd day, odd weekend, I think, for everyone in terms of the championship.
Well, it's really closed up, and there's a few new names that are pushing up the order here. But I mean, your immediate competitor, Tom Ingram, was behind you. Did you have thoughts that the main thing was to keep him behind, or were you just looking to push forward?
Yeah, obviously you want to keep him behind. The reverse grid's the next one we were going into, and look, for us, Tom wasn't involved in that, so we're starting P2, he's P10. It should be a good little race for us.
Well, the other good thing, your teammate, Aidan Moffat's fully on the pace as well, so you've got two Infinities in a sort of a pincer movement on the other people on the field. Yeah,
he's been doing a splendid job. You saw his performance at Brands, and he just rolled that straight over this weekend, so he thoroughly deserves everything he's getting.
Join us after the break for race 3 here from Oulton Park. Senna Proctor's pulled pole position out of the hat for that one, so it's his second pole position of the day. Let's hope he gets his start nailed this time. Cars are going out onto the grid for race 3 now, but one car, the West Surrey team, are working frantically to get Tom Oliphant's car ready to get him out. He'll start from the pit lane, but I mean, he's got good pace, so everything's being done to get this car on the grid. Job from the West Surrey crew to get Tom Oliphant's BMW ready for race 3. It was a really big heavy hit, a lot of damage on that car from race 1, but he'll start from the pit lane. Let's see the fans' predictions from the Pitch BTC app of who they think is going to win this race, and then straight into the highlights.
On the lights, and as expected, that shot gets away well. Senna Proctor not too bad with his ballast as well. They head down into turn 1 side by side for the lead, and Ashton's going to go for it. Senna Proctor holding ground though on the inside line, and Tom's being made to work. It's Jenny in third place, still a bit of a rub with the hopper as they went around Oulton Corner for the first time, and Senna Proctor making a fight of it, but Sutton goes through into the lead.
Yeah, well, he did do it at turn 1, and we've got a rotating Sam Osborne. Collected by Jack Butel. Lots of cars off. Yeah. Goff, Jackson.
And round 12 is underway. Next Sutton gets away well. Everybody off the line. And once again, Senna Proctor seems to be holding his own as they go down into Oulton. Ash Sutton's going to go for the swing round the outside. Got his nose in front and gets tagged by Proctor. The script has been torn up again.
He's now tagged his teammate Carl Baldry. That wheel's come off, so that's going to be a problem. Baldry's on!
Attacks! Butcher! Red flag. It's going to be red for Checkington, isn't it?
Well done, Senna.
Wow, what a race that was. Let's have a chat with the drivers and see how they saw it from their side of the wheel. So I'm with second place finisher Stephen Jelly, who was racing his West Surrey Racing BMW. Second place. You've had some good place this year, but a little bit of bad luck. So it's nice that your favourite circuit.
I'd say so, yeah, I'd say so. It's this weekend's been really good. 3 solid finishes. As you say, Brands Hatch didn't go to plan at all. Disaster weekend, but we did the 2-day tyre test here. We played with the car a bit and found a setup that just absolutely lit it up. In that final race, it was everything that I wanted it to be. Unfortunately, it wasn't a win, but I'm sure it'll come.
No, fantastic. Well, before the weekend, everybody's saying that this is a rear-wheel drive circuit. We've ended up with 3 races, one by front-wheel drive. And yourself and a couple of the others up there. But it's funny how things pan out.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's true anymore. I think it's the championships, changed in the last couple of years where I think the BMW was a new car and looked really quick compared to the older cars that were out there. Now things have moved on, newer cars out there, and it's equalised. And if anything, we're struggling at a circuit where we should have been really on the money. But happy to come out of it with a second, and looking forward to Knock Hill.
So I'm here with two teammates, Rick Parfitt and Jack Bootle from the Accelerate team. They were both involved in that red flag inducing incident on lap 1. How did you see it, Jack? How, from your side of the cockpit? Difficult to see there because it's up over a brow, so when stuff starts happening, it's tricky to see further back.
Yeah, to be honest, I saw everything. I didn't see what happened to Osborne. I don't know who hit him. But yeah, as soon as Osborne went off, to be fair, we all backed off. And then he came across and I hit the brakes, and then someone behind me just hit me, and then that was it. There was only one way going, and that was into the side of Sam. And then I got on the side of the door from Jack. But yeah, it's a thing that could have been avoided if someone had given a bit more room, and if we would have all not had the cars that were off. So. Yeah. Well, it seems a little bit of a story of the day, that really is. If people beat each other a little bit more room, you end up without the red flags, really. So how about you, Rick? How was it for you in that? I mean, again, you were sort of right in the middle of it.
Yeah, well, I had a good start, weirdly enough, and but we had Cook and Oliphant and Jackson all bashing 6 bells, and so they came past. They were level with me, and I just didn't fancy being in the sandwich, and so I said, right, I'll just follow them through. And so my view was just watching it all unfold in front of me, and everyone was just hitting each other, and it was just this crazy thing. And so I saw it happening and bailed, basically, because I didn't want to get involved with it. And I was very lucky not to. I think my rear tagged someone who was spinning as well, but I was lucky to get back out and finish the race, which is great, and get a 19th, which is good for me. But still, yeah, so much carnage today. A disappointing day for our team, but on to another really nice wide open circuit, Knock Hill.
So one of the surprises of this season in the British Touring Car Championship is the slightly lack of points given for team dynamics, but your championship has come alive this weekend. I'm with team boss Matt Neal. What's happened?
We've been looking for some luck, and I think we found it this weekend. And I think some of our adversaries had some bad luck, which helps the whole game. And it's the whole thing is so close. It's all about qualifying. Yeah. We were fairly light. We were light with Flash, and Robo was he was sort of middle of the road on the weight, but we had some good qualifying. We managed to convert them, but with some misfortune for the other guys, really.
So with an unfortunate finish to Jack Mitchell's debut weekend when he ended up in the gravel in all that kerfuffle in race 3, has British Touring Cars lived up to your expectations?
I think so, maybe a little bit more as well. It was obviously absolutely gutted with the end result there. Each session I've been doing, just more treating it like a test session. I'm still learning the car. We're trying a few things with the setup to try and get it to suit me, and we tried a few things there. We had the softs on the front, which seemed to be running well this weekend, and I was going into Cascades. I could see it all kind of kick off in front of me, so everyone starts to back up. Sadly, I got tagged from behind, and it put me into a spin into the gravel trap with all the other guys. Done quite a bit of damage by the looks of it, but obviously the team have been in this situation before. Managed to get the car out next time out after Thruxton, so we'll see what happens. We'll assess the situation. All in all, I think the weekend for me was just a learning curve. I've been learning more and more each time. Shame we couldn't get out for that last one, because I think this weekend was all about mileage, get as much as I can. I've taken what I've learned a lot. I now have kind of put all the little bits in the back of my mind, so they're all there in the memory bank. I think next time I get out, it'll be a little bit easier, a little bit less to think about, and I could really get to work on the job in hand.
So when a lot of drivers, when they come into British Touring Cars, they sort of stand back after a week and go, wow, there was so much going on, it's so much pressure. What did you find the most difficult part of being on the grid?
I think it helped that I've been around the paddock for a while, so I know the ins and outs of it. I know everything that happens with the fans. So I've been around the situation for a while, but I think just the actual platform of it all is probably what's blown me away the most. Obviously, on the GT stuff the last couple of years, and coming to here today, the fan base is just unbelievable. So in that sense, that shocked me the most. But I think the next thing, obviously, getting to the car as well, how difficult they were to drive. So a lot of I've got used to the fans now and got to grips with that. And I think the next step's getting to grips with the car and then getting them positions up and hopefully scoring some points soon enough.
So I'm with race winner Senna Proctor. Fantastic job for the BTC Racing Honda team. His trophies are covered in champagne, and you nailed the start in that one.
Yeah, I don't think I'd have lived you down if I messed up the start in that one as well. So yeah, really made race 1 and 2 hard for ourselves. Completely my fault. I messed the start up in race 1, so how to go from pole to 5th place off the start come to me. But I think we proved there that race that the pace was phenomenal. We pulled away from the pack, even with a little bit of extra weighting compared to race 1. So I think with that race was redemption, and it certainly helps me carry momentum forward.
But you've had the pace all day, to be honest. Even when you've dropped back in the pack, you've been the quickest car out there by the look of it. Now, that's your second race win, but your first sort of proper win, because the other one was a wet-dry race, which was tyre gambling. So is it nice to win from the front?
It's definitely nice to win from the front, yeah. Yeah, like you say, the first one I never really considered. I celebrated it like a proper win at the time, but as the time went on, it became less and less of a win, if that makes sense. Don't get me wrong, all BTCC wins are massive, and that'll certainly mean I have 2 now. But it was bugging me that I needed to win one on merit to be the fastest car on track when everyone's on the same tyre. So it was great that we could do that, and just looking to carry this momentum forward now.
So looking on to Knock Hill that's coming up, not Next Hill, the next race, which is at Knock Hill. You had a great weekend there last year. I think you got a podium there with the Hyundai. Looking forward to it again now?
Yeah, Knock Hill's my favourite track, so hopefully we get a couple more of these.
So after a hard day's racing here at Oulton Park, you can see behind me the teams are still working hard. The guys and girls in the teams have been working hard all day. We've shown lots of that in the programme today, where they're working flat out to get cars ready to get out on the grid after incidents earlier on. This is a real people sport, and hopefully we're showing you a little bit behind the scenes of what that's all about. Make sure you download the Pitch BTCC app. That'll give you even more information of what's going on. But a bit of a messy day here at Oulton Park, but what it's really done is closed the championship up. But that man Ash Sutton, he's still in the lead of it, so he's got maximum ballast going to Knock Hill. See you there.